Sarah and Leo had been the couple everyone envied. 5 years of what looked like flawless stability. They had the apartment with the exposed brick, the weekend routines involving farmers markets and joint workouts, and the kind of easy laughter that makes other couples question their own chemistry. I, as her closest friend, had always seen Leo as reliable, almost boringly so. He was Sarah's rock. The shift, when it came, wasn't a seismic event. It was more like a slow, creeping fog that obscured the edges of their reality. It started subtly, about 9 months ago. Leo's predictable schedule, which had been set in stone, leaving at 8:15 a.m., home by 6:30 p.m., began to flex. At first, it was legitimate. The new project demands longer hours, he'd text. A client dinner ran late. Sarah was supportive, proud even. She would often bring it up, saying, "He's working so hard for our future." But the legitimate excuses started sounding strained. The client dinners meant him being unreachable for stretches of time, not just unavailable, but silent. His phone, which used to lie face up on the counter, was now religiously face down, even when he stepped into the bathroom. I noticed the first physical clue on a Tuesday night when we were having our regular wine and movie evening. Leo had dashed out to pick up something from the office at 9 p.m., which was unusual. Sarah absent-mindedly picked up his discarded gym bag to move it. A faint, sweet, unfamiliar scent wafted out. It wasn't Sarah's sandalwood, or his typical sporty cologne. It was floral, slightly powdery, and distinctly feminine. Sarah laughed it off, albeit a little too quickly. "Maybe he shared an elevator with a lady wearing too much perfume," she suggested, but her eyes held a flicker of doubt. I didn't press, but I couldn't shake the smell. It was a tangible piece of evidence that didn't fit the known puzzle. Over the next 2 months, the digital distance grew into a chasm. He stopped making plans for the future that went beyond next weekend. When Sarah brought up taking a big trip for their 5-year anniversary, he became vague, talking about budget constraints, which was untrue given his recent raise. He stopped posting photos of them online, and if Sarah posted one, he would wait a full day before clicking, like a small, chilling indicator of deliberate delay. The breaking point arrived during a seemingly normal weekend. Sarah was trying to install a new streaming app on their living room smart TV, but it kept asking for his account password. Frustrated, she picked up the shared iPad, which was linked to all of Leo's cloud accounts, and opened his email, intending to reset the password. She didn't find the password reset. She found a thread of texts, not on his phone, but saved within his synced notes app, meticulously dated. They weren't long, passionate declarations. They were worse. Tiny, domestic snippets that mirrored the easy life he shared with Sarah. "Can't wait for my favorite takeout on Friday. Save me a seat. I miss watching bad documentaries with you. Sleep well, sweetheart. See you tomorrow evening." The realization hit Sarah like a physical blow. It wasn't a one-time drunken mistake. It was a parallel life. A second, fully operational relationship that had been running alongside hers for months. The client dinners weren't about networking. They were intimate meals. The late nights weren't about the future. They were about splitting his time. She didn't confront him immediately. She called me, her voice trembling but unnervingly calm. "I need you to come over now." When I arrived, she was sitting on the sofa, the iPad resting on her lap, the screen illuminated with the mundane, devastating texts. She looked hollowed out, as if all her internal light had been extinguished. When Leo finally walked through the door an hour later, he smiled, dropping his keys on the entry table. "Rough day," he started, but his words died in his throat when he saw us, me, stone-faced, and Sarah, holding the glowing tablet like a judge's gavel. Sarah didn't raise her voice. She simply read the last text aloud. "Sleep well, sweetheart. See you tomorrow evening." Leo, who is sweetheart, And why do you see her tomorrow evening when you told me you were traveling for work? His attempts at denial were pathetic. Clumsy scramble of "it's just a friend" that shattered instantly when she scrolled to the photos he had saved a week prior. A picture of a woman's hand resting on a restaurant table, wearing a silver ring Sarah had never seen before. The ensuing hours were a blur of cold, devastating clarity. There was no screaming, only quiet, definitive heartbreak. Sarah told him to leave, not in a fit of rage, but with the measured finality of someone closing a heavy, painful chapter. He tried to beg, to explain, to minimize it. But the weight of the evidence and the knowledge that he had wasted months of her life was too heavy. The relationship didn't end with a dramatic crash, but with a slow, agonizing fade, leaving Sarah to pick up the pieces of a life that was now suddenly and irrevocably lighter, yet infinitely harder to hold.